Well, first and foremost, my name is Christopher Rodriguez, and it is an incredible pleasure to be here. I know we have an incredible panel. We have, we have some clinical professionals, we have some advocates, and we have some personal experiences. And I think that's what we need the most when it comes to talking about mental health. I won't lie to you, as soon as I walked in, I felt completely overwhelmed with emotion because for the last 16 years, I have worked in mental health as a case manager at Psych Hospital. And I have always envisioned mental health to be this dope, this cool, and this amazing. As a matter of fact, this is what mental health is supposed to be like. We're supposed to be able to come together, talk about the importance of what mental wealth looks like, and not feel shame. With that being said, I also want to go ahead and shout out Shanae Speller. Where you at? Let's give her a big round of applause. Because it is her and her vision and her genius that has brought the first music festival about mental health here, Composed. And without her, we would not be able to be here right now. So, with all that being said, are you guys ready? We're gonna have a real, honest conversation about mental wellness. I know Femi's ready. All right, so coping skills and support. What does that look like and how can we teach our loved ones to support us properly? So I want you guys to be able to kind of pass the mic around. It doesn't matter who takes a question first, but that's what we want to talk about. So, coping skills and support. What does that look like and how can we teach our loved ones to support us properly?
Hi everybody, my name is Janet Lewis. I have 18 years in California as a licensed psychiatric technician. Before I left, I did 3 years as a program manager with peers. It was my desire to start a program that we can recover, because I have recovered, but I'm still working on myself. Coping skills, listen to people. It doesn't take that much just to listen, and that's what we're doing today, is sharing and listening. That's the best thing that helped me through my triggers or my own my own problems, was just listen to me and know that what I am suffering through is real. It's real for me. It might not be, you don't get it, but just listen to me. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name is Davina Amo, and I am a private clinician and also work for a nonprofit organization here in Houston. We provide free support groups for individuals with depression and bipolar, or those who have family members with depression and bipolar, totally free. That's the plug. And I also work at a psychiatric hospital here in Houston. So I have different layers of what mental illnesses look like, from mild to severe. And when we talk about coping strategies, one thing to remember is coping strategies is different for everyone. So what you do to cope, it may not work for me, okay? So if someone tell you, hey, go work out, it'll release some stress. Well, working out, it stresses me out. That's not my coping skill. So it's very important to remember coping strategies is used to alleviate any symptoms that you're experiencing. So it's whatever that may look like. Everyone is different. So you may like to journal. You may like to write music. You may like to do deep breathing. You may like to exercise. It looks different for everyone, and that's very important to remember when we're talking about coping skills. When we're talking about support systems, having that open communication with those that you're close to. First you have to be aware of your warning signs and your triggers, because if you don't know what's triggering the negative emotions that you're experiencing, you can't communicate that to your friend, to your loved one, to your spouse, right? So when you can identify, what it is that basically set you off. Once you're able to realize that, then you say, hey, when I get in my depressive state, these are the signs to look for. I may isolate. You may see me not eating as much. You may see me getting closed off. You may see me get more irritable. So you have to have that open dialogue with the people that you love so that they know what to look out for. So if I see, oh, James, when the last time you ate, Or I see you know, you haven't came to any family functions for the past 3 weeks. Are you okay? So it's very important to kind of communicate that to your loved ones so that they know what to look out for when you need help the most.
Perfect. The Femi. Let's go, Femi. Feelings and shit.
All right, guys, my name is Femi Olukoya. You heard from me previously. Founder of Sandcastle Psych, private practice, and I've also been in mental health for about 12 years. I was a psychiatric assistant for about a couple years before I transitioned back into therapy as a counselor. And I also work with Davina Amo at Sandcastle. So we are the two residing therapists at Sandcastle. That's another plug. But when it comes to coping skills and support, I do know, and I tell my clients this all the time, so there are two types of coping skills, right? We talk about passive coping skills and active coping skills. Passive coping skills are typically things that you do on a daily basis, right? I'm going for a run, I'm journaling, I'm reading, I'm playing video games, I'm meditating, I'm breathing, right? Well, actually, that's an active one. But this is stuff for maintenance. This is stuff that you do on a regular day just to keep you at your best self. Now, when it comes to active coping skills is when you're triggered. That word is important. Like, let's say somebody confronts you or, you know, you hear a loud bang. When it comes to PTSD, military individuals, when you get triggered. Active coping skills are the tools that you need right then and there to calm you down so you cannot actually do anything that makes the situation worse. So active and passive coping skills are very important to know. When it comes to support is very important as well because you need to be able to communicate. Just to piggyback off of what Davina said, you need to be able to communicate your emotions. You need to be able to communicate like how or what works for you because your support needs to understand you as a person because they are useless to you if you do not let them know how to help you, right? And sit in your feelings. Like, just sit in it. If you're frustrated, sit in it. Like, these are very important things because these feelings are very natural. They're very important. And when you understand your feelings, you're able to navigate them a lot better. Using coping skills typically help. And you can modify your coping skills however you want. It doesn't have to be generic. Oh yeah, go for a run. Go do this. Sometimes that's your coping skill, but there's gonna be a day that shit doesn't work. So what are you gonna do? You gotta modify it. All right, I won't run, I'll just walk, or I'll just do deep breathing. So you have to understand yourself. When you practice on yourself and not worry about external factors, you grow.
There we go.
Just to piggyback off of that, being really aware of what helps you, what triggers you, and understanding it to a point where you can then communicate that to those who want to support you. So being aware and advocating for what you need. One thing that I've worked with my therapist on, just myself, is like having a little menu almost of coping skills. Like, if I only have 5 minutes, what are some things I can try that might help? If I have 15 minutes, maybe something else. Or full hour, go take a nice long walk. And that way you kind of have something to fall back on if that first thing you want to try doesn't work. And sorry, I forgot to mention before, I'm Hannah Massinati. I'm a board certified music therapist with Houston Music Therapy.
I guess I'm the last person. First off, I want to say RIP to the OG Wicked Cricket, RIP D Bondo. I'm going to say that first, and then I'm going to get into the purpose. So, coping mechanisms. I'm going to say exercise, even though everybody said that might not always work. One of the reasons why it does work is because when you exercise, you release pleasure endorphins. One of the main things I would say is start to study your own mind. The average person don't even know how their own mind works. That's why you need somebody else to tell you what to do with your mind, because you don't know how your mind works. Anxiety, for the layman, pretty much works like this. You have trained your body to be the mind, and it reacts at a certain time, in a certain situation, a certain set of circumstances every time. And you don't know those circumstances, so you think it's just happening for nothing, which creates a cycle where it keeps on happening. One of the things you can do when you're having an anxiety attack or episode is think about whatever those things that press your buttons, are they happening right then, right now, in that moment? Most of the time, that's not the case. So I'm gonna tell you how it works. You've been working with somebody at your job for 3 years, and this person pushes your buttons every Thursday, right? And then you leave that job 3 years later, and all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock in traffic on Thursday, and you can't breathe, and you're sweating, and you're wondering where it's coming from. Your body has been programmed to go into fight or flight mode at 4 o'clock every Thursday when it's time for you to turn into a report, right? You don't know that because you left that job 3 years ago, right? So one of the things is presence. Being in the moment is whatever that thing that made me mad, made me sad, made me whatever, is it happening right now in this moment? Most of the time, that's not the case. As far as like being able to be support for people, the main thing I would say is don't write it off. Don't make, you'll be all right, just pray about it. Nah. That don't work the same for everybody. Like, take it as if it was something happening to you when they telling you it's something happening to them. And you'll be better equipped to be sympathetic to them.
That's good. That's good. Thank you, guys.
I guess I'll hold it to this question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, a big part of why we're here today is actually to get the resources that we need and get some of the tools that we need. And of course, coping skills are so important. But also, too, a lot of us, unfortunately, don't like to talk about mental health because of stigmas that surround mental health. And we want to really get deep and dirty on the stigmas that surround mental health. So what does stigmas, as far as like how they play a role in how people view mental health? So what do you think about that?
I think it plays a major role, especially depending on what type of culture you come from. Because I know the culture I come from, bro, I come from the north side, H-Town, Trinity Garden, East Texas. Ain't no going to no therapist.
Let's go.
The therapy is the syrup, the therapy is the weed, the therapy is the pills, the therapy is the bottle, the therapy is sex with multiple partners that you don't care nothing about. That's how we do therapy where I come from. So yeah, that's definitely a major thing. But I'm gonna tell you something that freed me from all those stigmatisms is being called crazy early on. It was like, I've been called crazy my whole life so much, so I didn't even care what you thought after a while, because I've been crazy to everybody around me my whole life, so I don't even care. And that kind of freed me. It's okay. And then one thing that I would say is that nobody's meant to be normal. Nobody's meant, I'm going to say it slowly, nobody is meant to be normal.
You just chopped and screwed that just way.
Yeah. You know what normal is? Going to a job you hate. Knowing you have issues and not addressing them. Knowing you have, you're eating the wrong stuff, but only God can judge me. You gotta die something. Marrying somebody you don't love, staying with them to prove something to somebody else, that's normal. If I woke up normal, I would go back to sleep and pray it was a nightmare.
Let's go.
And what even is normal?
What is normal?
Who's telling us what we're supposed to be normal? We all deal with these different struggles in a lot of different ways, and it comes up differently for all of us. So, yeah, that's all I have to say right now.
The stigma I tried to break when I was a psych tech and dealing with medication, I would tell them that our brain is just an organ like any part of your body. Do you have diabetes? Well, yeah. Do you take your insulin? Yes. So I'm trying to break the stigma of medication. I've been on medication before and it helped me. And now I realize I can't stop my medication. It's my brain has an imbalance and that's who I am. So when I tell you, you have high blood pressure, take your medication. Same thing, your brain will need your medication at one time or another. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I deal with it.
So when we talk about stigma can be defined as a mark of disgrace. And so you have to ask yourself, Why is taking care of my mental health a disgrace? That's the real question.
Real fast,
right?
real fast. I want everyone to hear that. I want you to say that one more time, but I want everybody to really listen to what she just said. Please say that again.
Thank you for putting me on the spot.
I have to. Let's go.
So stigma can be defined as a mark of disgrace. And so you have to ask yourself, why is taking care of my mental a disgrace? Why is that disgraceful, right? So when you're sick and you have a cold, you have a cough, you're congested, you're sneezing, you try to do some home remedies, you take some cough medicine, some cough drops. If that doesn't work, what do? You go to a doctor, right? If you have a toothache, you do some oral gel, if you natural, you do cloves. If that doesn't work, you go see a dentist, right? And so when we're feeling down and out, when something isn't feeling right, when, I've been sad, I don't know what's going on with me, I've been highly anxious, I've been irritable, I've been snapping at people, I don't really know what's going on. I try my coping skills, that doesn't work, but I'm gonna just deal with it. Why is that, right? And so you have to understand, where does the stigma come from? So if you wanna go back, you can rewind back in time and think about your childhood, Specifically, let's talk about culture. In the African American household, as a child, we were taught children are to be seen, not to be heard. If you wanted to talk about your feelings, you wasn't allowed to say, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm upset. That was considered talking back, right? As far as, if you're upset, suck it up, I don't want to hear it. So you're conditioning children at a young age to you're basically saying your emotions don't matter. You're a child, stay in a child's place. I'm an adult, I tell you how to manage your emotions. So what happens to those children? They grow up to be adults who don't know how to manage their emotions, that don't know how to identify their emotions, that don't know what to do when they're upset, angry, or depressed. They don't know what to do because you didn't teach them. That's where the stigma comes from. I wasn't taught that it's okay to feel my feelings, as people like to say. I wasn't taught it's okay to talk about it. And that's why it's so hard, and that's where the stigma comes from. So now when we know where the stigma comes from, now it's time to address it. We address it by normalizing it. I can go to the doctor, that's normal, going to the doctor. It's normal going to the dentist. Why not going to go see a therapist? I can't do it on my own. I tried at home, it didn't work. I tried talking to my friends. They got their own stuff going on. I talked to my family. They're tired of hearing from me. Now what do? Do I just sit and soak and just deal with it? No, I go out and I seek help. And that's where we break the stigma. Realizing where it comes from, realizing that it's not okay, normalizing it, and then moving forward and being intentional about dealing with it.
And I just want everybody to know, right now, you're in this building, you're already breaking stigmas. So that's super, super important.
So I can be really disrespectful when it comes to my clients because I like to hit them hard, right? How many of y'all got a therapist? Raise your hand. How many? I'm gonna ask that again. How many of you guys that I'm looking at right now have a therapist? Okay.
Give me a round.
All right.
Yourself a round of applause.
Give them a round. Now, for those that don't, there could be a reason for that. I know when it comes to the stigma, I know in the military, it's an easy answer why they don't seek therapy because they don't want to be a liability, right? Oh man, they said I have mental health issues. I might not be able to perform on the field. People will be looking at me differently. It's the same concept when it comes to with your boys, with your family and all that stuff. You don't want to be seen as weak and as a liability, right? But the crazy thing is, it's what makes you actually stronger because you're more aware of your emotions and your issues than other people. Because there are people walking around Houston that got mad disorders and don't even know it. Right. They'll pull up on somebody and just oh, road rage. Oh, you cut me off, I'm following you, and I'm gonna put a couple in you. That's a disorder, right? But you don't know it because you feel like that's Texas, it's the normal thing. It is not normal.
Not normal.
At all. Yeah, you're right. You said that who wants to be normal, but at the end, but you have to understand your normal. You have to understand other people's normal, because my normal may be different from yours. Now, not seeking therapy, it's a personal choice. That's cool. I'm not gonna knock you for it. But at the end of the day, if you want to be your best self, you need all aspects. Like she said, you're going to the dentist, you're going to the doctor, you're going to the therapist, you're going to the psychiatrist, right? These are things that are very important.
No, Femi. With that being said, a lot of us here always ask the question is, when is the right time to find a therapist? And how does that look? Like, how do we find the right therapist for ourselves?
It's tricky. It's really a mixed bag, because the first thing you have to do is just start going on Psychology Today, Google, and actually meeting people. You will go through 5 therapists before you find that good one, because you have to have a relationship with your therapist. That person has to actually feel you. You have to, you know what? I can fuck with you. I can tell you all these things and not feel judged. I feel like this is a safe place, right? You have to do the work, because the therapist is just gonna sit there and be like, tell me about how you feel, and it's a 70-30%. I'm giving you 30. You gotta give me 70. You gotta tell me your business. And the thing is, I'm open to disclose with you just to make you comfortable, because we want to make it a safe place. But you have to do the work. That's really it. The people that didn't raise their hands, I see a couple of fucking J's in here. Jordans. How much are Jordans? Average of $250 a pop. That's a couple of therapy sessions, right? I'm just giving you perspective. I mean, I got J's on too. I just started being a shoe head because of my cousin. Shout out to Jeff. Appreciate your plug. But I'm just saying though, because you guys really have to consider talking about stuff and actually doing the work. If you don't do the work, the problem's still gonna be the same. That's really it. And it's just legacy burdens is just gonna continue and continue and continue. You're talking about breaking generational curses. This is one of the ways of doing it. That's just part of it.
One thing I wanted to say about the stigmatisms, and it kind of goes on the line of what you're saying. You gotta break out of the prison of other people's opinions first and foremost. Because half the time, like, you're looking at these people who are saying you crazy for going to a therapist. Look at their lives.
Facts.
Do they look happy? I ain't even talking about money or having all the women or nothing. Do they look happy? If they don't, they're probably not the people to take advice about your happiness. Because they not happy. And they want you to be miserable with them. Like, nah, you can have that pity party way over there, bro. Like, I'm trying to get in on the happy side of things. Yeah.
That's facts.
And if you cool being miserable, because people get comfortable in their misery. That's okay. For you. But I'm trying to get right. And you're not right, so I'm not going to listen to you. Take advice from experts. And the other part of it is, a lot of people buy Jordans to impress other people. And you get some of them therapy sessions or whatever you need for yourself, and you ain't even gonna care. You're gonna end up in here with flip-flops just as comfortable and confident as you bought the J's right off of his feet. That's worth way more than the J's.
Hey, no, he's absolutely right about that. And one of the things that I really want to make sure that we hit before we end this panel is that obviously we know that in the BIPOC community, brown and black community, we are policed differently.
Facts.
So my question to this panel is, how can we educate police on mental health to keep our community safe and build trust with the people, our people?
I want to go last.
Honestly, it ain't about educating the police. It's about policing ourselves first.
All right.
That's where it starts. If we police ourselves and we take care of our community the way that we're supposed to, they don't even need to come in there. It starts there. We gotta care about our community. We gotta educate ourselves on mental illness. We gotta be the ones that stand on the forefront to get these people help, or to even learn how to de-escalate situations and learn how to deal with those folks, so that we don't even have to call anybody else to come in there. That's our community. Don't nobody else need to be over there. We need to be on the front line.
to, as a resource, I would like to say that in Houston we have crisis intervention teams, right? As far as being able to identify, Uncle John, instead of he going crazy, he's threatening me and this and that. I know Uncle John's warning signs for his disorder. So we're going back to warning signs, being educated, knowing what it looks like. So I'm not going to call 911. I'm going to call and ask for a crisis intervention team with specialists who are specialized in dealing with people like Uncle John. So it's basically being educated, being aware, knowing your resources and using your resources, because there's a totally different idea of calling the police versus calling someone who knows how to deal with these type of people. So it's all about education.
These things are called like mental health warrants. Instead of like regular police officers coming in to like, hey, we hear a disturbance, they call like crisis interventionists and like, EMTs, and there might be a police officer to assist, but it's mainly to get you to a crisis center safely, right? So like like Sun Behavioral, Houston Behavioral, these short facilities that, suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, aggressions, and just irrational behavior, just to get them leveled out. So these things, like, you could just call 988, right? That's the new number now. It starts July, huh? 888. It's 888 or 988? I think it's 988, right? Yeah, we got y'all on that. So it's 988. I knew I was right. So it's 988, and it's one of those situations where you call that, and then they pretty much it's like a crisis center, and they come get you. It's a mental health warrant, and they get you to the hospital safely instead of like clipping your non and just start going in.
I definitely want to. I know you wanted to go on last because I know you got something deep to say about this.
R.I.P. Christopher Benoit Menifee. He was killed by Sheriff Deputy Wallace, my cousin, in 2002. Part of the reason why I'm so big on being an activist is because of that. In the process of being an activist, I've had police officers' guns in my face on several different occasions. At least 7 different times I can remember right now. Some of that, the onus is not really on us. Like, part of it is like what you choose to do as a living. Like, you choose to put yourself in the line of fire for a living, you gotta know certain things come with that. And if you have certain issues with certain groups, or you don't understand certain groups, whichever way it may go, it's on you to deal with that. One of the things that I would say, that if I was a police officer and I'm working and I'm in this locker and this particular officer exhibits things that tend to look like they have racial issues or issues with a certain culture, I would say something. See, to me, that's why there's no such thing as a good cop. Because you standing next to the people who kill us, you don't say nothing. So how can you be good? If I'm cool with a rapist, am I a good person? I know he's raping people and I'm not saying nothing. I'm a good person? How? Yeah, so you got police officers in your area and you know some of these type of people, what I would probably do is start developing a relationship with them. Hey, how you doing, officer? What's your name? Yeah, my name is Kodak. I live around here, Acres Home, such. Hey, man, you all right? You feeling good today? Hey, man, I went to this event. I talked to these therapists, man. If you ever feeling like, somebody you need to talk to, go check them out. Maybe you need to do that. Maybe somebody needs to do that, like address them directly. Hey man, if you don't like black people or you have certain things or fears or whatever it is that make you act the way you act, it needs to be addressed before it turns into somebody getting shot. Because people like me gonna respond differently when you come to the neighborhood with that. It ain't gonna go like you thought. We gonna make a movie. I guarantee you that.
And obviously, jump on what he's saying is that we just have to play an active role in our communities, especially with the police that are policing our neighborhoods. And I think that's
yes,
really
be preemptive is the short version.
Preventive.
Don't wait till stuff start happening. Address them when they come. As soon as they come to the community, he gonna be riding around here on a regular basis. Talk to him when you see him. Don't get still. Oh, they go to police. No, he's a human being. He just happens to wear a badge that day. Yeah.
And I think you could just tell the tone of this whole conversation is that we together, as a Black and brown community, we gotta talk together about this. We can't be sitting here and putting mental health on the side. We can't talk about it when shit happens. We gotta talk about before shit happens.
Because some of these things you see these officers do is actually mental health issues being played out.
Absolutely.
It's not always I hate black people. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is a lot of these new officers come from military. They come here straight from the field. They come from, I gotta pop this dude. And now you telling me I gotta talk to this dude. When I've been popping people for the last 2 years. And I ain't had no type of therapy in between me being a police officer and me being in the military. So yeah.
Now, hey, we only have a few more minutes to talk. I think we only have like 2 more minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes. There we go. So, one thing that brought us here today is creativity and expression. That's what makes Compose so special and so beautiful. So, with a little bit of time that we have left, tell me how creativity and expression plays a major role in self-awareness and mental health.
I'm gonna go first because this is short for me. This is the whole reason I started rapping. I rapped about killing people because I didn't want to kill people. I felt like it'd be better to say it in words than actually go out there and do it. And it's like I started with poetry and then with comedy and then with rap and all of that, and that's my therapy. To this day, it's still my therapy. If nobody ever paid me for a rap, I would still be rapping because it's part of my therapy. And it's one thing I actually suggest to my daughter as well. It's like if you're having problems with something, the most important thing is to find a positive outlet. Because if you don't search for a positive outlet, a negative outlet will find you.
Rich.
Come on, folks.
Touching on that, being a producer and a creator, I was always doing it. It literally saved my life. Like, I would create in the hours that I wanted to do something to myself. And I would create until I was too exhausted to go through the process. Somebody just happened to find one of my creations by, it's a long story, a little accident, and took me to somebody else, cut me a check. And in that moment, it wasn't the money. I saw that somebody else saw value in me. So I was like, all right, I gotta be here for a purpose. That's why I always share this story and I always push trying to find a creative outlet. It helps more than people think it does. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And to this day, I mean, that's why I'm here.
Come on, bro.
So I hate talking at people, but I love talking to people. Like, I love talking to people individually.
Big difference.
Just getting to know people, getting to like understand different cultures, different backgrounds. I'm a very introverted extrovert, so they say I like to chill most of the time, but I'm very friendly. All my neighbors know me. We got a squad. Like, I love talking to people. We do have a squad. Like, okay, so I'm also a gamer. I love like two. Oh yeah, okay. So 2 hours, maybe every other day, I need time in the game room. I gotta play Madden, 2K, or Call of Duty with the squad. You give me that, my wife gives me that, you know, my kids sometimes, but those two things, talking to people and gaming, I game a lot less now because, you know, I got a whole family and a job, but I gotta put it in there. That is my coping skill, that is my stress reliever, just getting to know people, understanding people, and this is why I'm in this field because I disclose a lot. I be talking. Like, you forget you're talking to your therapist. We just be having conversations and I'm taking notes in the background like, I got you. But yeah, those are my coping skills.
I gotta pull the cord out of the video game right now, so. Anyways, no, honestly, although the conversation has to stop here, we have to remember right now that we gotta continue the conversation when we leave.
Right.
We gotta talk to our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our girlfriends, our husbands, our boyfriends, our barbers, our stylists, whatever it may be. We have to be able to talk about mental health in a way that no one feels shame and that everyone feels comfortable. So please, if anything you leave here today, besides being truly inspired by this festival, please, let's talk more about mental health. Let's make it normal to talk about it and not feel any shame. With that being said, let's give a round of applause to our panel. They did amazing. I want to say thank you guys. You guys did an amazing job. And hey, this is the first year of Compose, which means we got years to come. So let's keep the conversation going. Thank you, everyone.
Anybody in here, if you ever want somebody to talk to, feel free to approach me. I've been literally like hearing about marital problems since I was 9 years old. People always tell me their problems. If you want to come and talk to me before you talk to one of them, feel free. I ain't gonna charge you nothing.